Oh, hi, because I'm Mr. Ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you. Now it feels like a radio show, actually. I'm like, wait a minute. But feels like radio-esque. Do hope you're all doing okay. So I got the turn last night, but I was asleep at that time, so gotta get it done now before heading out to uni, sure enough. Over Parador. He likes his Star Trek references, doesn't he? Let's take a look then. Do let me know if the music is too loud, by the way. Try and adjust the actual volume settings. It sounds okay to me, but hopefully it's not too much. So we are essentially forming our forces up around Tulagi. The Knicks are in Tulagi now, along with additional B6s. No, not B6s yet, B5s, I think it is. We'll have around about 200 fighters or so in the Solomon Sea area, not including Oscars, not including additional assets at Rabaul, etc. How you doing there, Mexi? Good to have you. We did transfer 93 zeros to Guam from Tokyo yesterday. So they could do with a rest like Guam here today, but we could potentially assume that maybe from tomorrow or the day after. Depends on really when they're needed. We would then be able to transfer another 93 zeros into the area. So it looks like a relatively quiet night phase. We do have our submarines actually deployed in a position which would be about 9 hexes away from its current position with the carriers as far as we can tell. It's a line actually, I think we have about 4 or 5 subs in a line. So just trying to see if we can actually pick up on his movements, really. That's interesting, seeing 2 allied submarines off the coast. Okay. Good. Right, okay. How you doing there, Balloon? Good to have you, my friend. Right, so we do see some shipping there at Luganville. It'd be interesting to see what kind of shipping we see there. Right, because we do have our B5s attacking more often now. We have about 50 or 60 dive bombers now with Balapapan, actually. Right, that sounds like it's a carrier there. Right, number of missions here cancelled due to weather. Oh, could you guys let me know if the music's too loud or anything of that nature? I say that as it's gone off, but it's going back on now. If you could let me know, that'd be great. Yeah. So, apparently there may be a carrier group at Luganville, but I'm not too sure. I'm not doing too bad. How are you doing there, my friend? Okay. Oh, I need to download the weather mod. Eventually I will get to it. And that looked like a particularly good day. 277 is pretty damn good, actually. Again, need to move those. They're not doing a bad thing, though, actually. They're not doing a terribly bad thing by attacking them. So, that's not bad. Yeah, in regards to his carriers in the Solomon Sea, well, in the Coral Sea, let's see the Coral Sea area. I'm not too sure what it... I don't know. I don't feel like he's going to push in too aggressively yet. I think he's probably going to attempt to probe the area first and foremost. I'd kind of expect more of a coastal Australian movement, to be honest. Try and circumvent Tulagi if he could, really. But we'll see. I mean, this is it. The British carriers, sadly we didn't get the opportunity to sink one. Not for lack of trying. But they did lose quite a few of their aircraft. I imagine that they will have restocked on those said aircraft. But he knows that he has to be at least somewhat respectful of the Tulagi area. Of course, we have been since continuously strengthening it, which is very nice. Another day means more aircraft, means more fortifications, means that we are closer to additional airfields too, so that does help out. Right. We do have our cruiser group at Shortland still. Yeah, no go. Very nice, yeah. You can see that these are increasing now. Yeah, patrol there. Yeah. Potentially so. I think he will have a pool of aircraft, sorry, of pilots. He more than likely will have a pool, same as we do. But yeah, it's one of those. If it's going to become a battle of attrition, then it is one that we are better able to fight. But for us, I mean, all we need is to be able to hit a carry, and then it significantly changes the equation for us, really. We'll see about that. I mean, if he's going to come in, I'm not too sure. I don't think he's going to come in yet. I think he will probably try and check out the area. Myself and Gary were talking the other night, and we're like, well, he's probably going to head for, like, Luganville rather than Endeni. So he may not think Endeni to be a real threat as of right now. And, at Endeni, we've decided to stop building the airfield, because obviously you can't damage an airfield that doesn't exist. So if we were to build an airfield, it'd likely be bombarded pretty quickly. So rather than just expose it to damage, and obviously the troops are sure there to damage, and supply to damage, we're going to go ahead and build up the fortifications at Endeni. The idea being, make it better able to survive in that area. But yeah, we spoke that he probably will head for Luganville. But this is it. We had previously seen about, well, 2 confirmed carrier groups and a suspected 3rd carrier group in the area. Now, we do see ships at Luganville, and we had some sort of report about main body or something of that nature. It doesn't mean that there's carriers there. There could be carriers there, and they could be the ones from Nuke Maya. So we'll see. So maybe the British carriers again. Well, who could be sure, really? At this stage, anyway. There's a lot of headquarters. Again, his troops return to Chongqing. But the beautiful thing is they just return in a much poorer state. Yes, they return with about 200 odd AV, but it's like... I've never played with the Allies and seen it actually in person, but I believe they return with less experience and less morale. And of course they don't have the guns that would do them much good. I'm really just building up the Chongqing, bringing all the tanks ideally. I'm also of the opinion, because we have a potential way to reduce this fortness supply using armored vehicles. So I'm like, well, maybe it's worthwhile to just continue assembling the infantry, but potentially giving them the time to build up to the 100% prep, perhaps. I'm not too sure. It's like, I don't know, at this point, it's like time would be good. If we could try and do this quickly, I'd love to do it quickly. But I think even a couple of days, even another month over here, is probably worthwhile. So it's probably going to take a roundabout for us to get all the armored vehicles into Chongqing eventually. Which I think works out fine. Something of that sort of nature, really. Additional preparation is always going to do us good work. Yeah. We should have 2 new artillery units that have arrived today. We'll have obviously more to come soon. It's looking like a pretty good day for casualties here then. So 21 casualties on our side, 1. We have 20 destroyed, 405 casualties. It's been a good day of casualties today. 10 additional disabled on his side too. That's a good thing as well. Disabled can be destroyed as well, which is very handy. Of course, they can replace them here to a degree, but still good for us. Okay. So it's up to 148, which is when we did the testing of armoured vehicles versus Chongqing, we actually did test with something like 150k anyway, and that worked there. I mean, it had chances when it worked. We'll see. We'll ideally bring more armour, and ideally the real life situation will be different due to the obviously ongoing bombardments. I do hope I had them in combat mode. I think so. Yeah, they're retreating there towards Yunnan. Oh no, back. Okay. A little awkward. Yeah, 19. Yeah, so they were in the crap mode, that's good. 978 on his side, but that's fine. So we have the ongoing bombardment here coming. Yeah, so what do you guys think to the music volume level? Is it too much? Yeah, so we will have had another tank regiment arrive. I was waiting for the tank regiments to arrive before I attack at Kunming, really. The reason being obviously going to reduce the casualties here. But they're going to have to come through here anyway, so might as well have them ready to move out. I also do want to have the TIE forces given some time to move this way. Okay, attacking here once again, 24 Chinese will. Maybe a bit loud, okay. Let me go ahead and just... Yeah, it's weird because it sounds different to how you guys hear it to how I hear it, which is kind of weird. Right, so they do attack there. Imagine. Oh, so they do retreat this way. A little annoyed that they retreat this way. I imagine that's probably towards Yunanda. So they suffered another 1,108 casualties. Not too bad. I could send a vehicle along this way just to chase them down, really, if needs be. That's fine by me. That's good. That's good. I don't know. I need to just get another music player, because it's like the ones I've used are just so unreliable. Yeah, they'll go end any up there. Yeah, Woodlarge size 4. Tiger there ups to the size 1 airfield. I can't hear the music at all now, actually. Oh well. Yeah, I just need to download another player. So, relatively quiet day then, all in all. Which is not too surprising. He obviously has to maneuver into position, really. We do see the ship in there, Luganville. It could be the supposed heavy cruisers that we saw yesterday. I wouldn't be too surprised about that. Okay. Very nice. Let's just go ahead and adjust this again then. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here. So it's actually playing, but it's not playing. It's freaking annoying as hell. The amount of times I have to struggle with this is unbelievable. Yeah, it's bizarre. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save it here. And reopen it as a new... Wait, it loads back in. Okay. So here we are, May 22nd. A very good day event so far. A quiet day event, really. We did have nice results in the land there. The bombing went well today. But no activity really at sea. Though, of course, we do see... I mean, we saw 2 submarines around here. 2 allied submarines around there. So it was good to see then. At least we are going to be aware of those. What are the plans for the Philippines and the US troops there? I've got troops there now. Oh, I think I'd meant to actually have them attack, and I must have forgot to issue that order on this side. Yeah, the troops are in place over here. Oh, right, that's why. Yes. I'd started to make the orders, and then because I had 2 saves open at the time, so I didn't realise which one I'd done it in. So I had meant to attack over here. Yeah, the only issue with the Philippines is just need to get a garrison in there. That's the only issue. But yeah, we'll go ahead and attack there. I'm loading up the artillery over here as well. As it finished loading. Yeah, okay. Probably will take some time. I'm going to have them docked and then take as long as it needs to load them, really. Okay. I do have troops heading out for Tinian, I do believe. I'm going in order of which base has more infrastructure, really. Supply over here at Tinian is pretty good too. So it goes obviously Saipan, then Guam, then Tinian. Bagan is up there as well. Excuse me, with 1 and 3. Yeah, good job reminding me about that. I had intended to do that, and I thought I'd issue that order. Yeah, so... Seeing the cruisers, apparently. Right, so we have an... yeah, okay. So that is the report that we had there. So apparently that may be a British carrier. We're not seeing anything out here right now, which is interesting. I did feel like he'd probably do something like this. Yeah, I mean, for him, he's wanted to lose sight on the carriers. But we'll see. We do have our H6K4s over here now. So you can see, obviously, that we do have that additional 20 hex range. We could even potentially push them a little bit further. For 25 if we wanted to. But yeah, you can see that our detection range is now much further than it once was as well, which is pretty good. Noumea is obviously well within reach over here. So we'll be regularly able to detect things out here at New Caledonia, which is good. So let's see then. Interestingly, I can see a unit there. That's odd. Right. Yeah. So it does make sense. I feel like he's going to probe first. I think the cruisers over here do represent the fact that he's probably probing now. Hey, he could be lingering in the area, we just don't see him, and he's actually just running a long-range cap. I wouldn't be surprised about that. But we're going to stick to about 11 hex strike range, something of that nature. We might even potentially reduce it a little bit further. The idea is that we force him to come in. That's what we'd like to see. Yeah, he does have detection over there. Of course, he does have the actual aircraft here. Right. Yeah, so you can see that we're building a forts there. It is jungle, so it's only ×2. Had it been 8 tall, that'd been nice, but yeah. I continue to build up over here, then get it at 59%. So what we're doing as well then, it would have been nice to have had the salaries there, but we are really deploying in a just in a, well, I guess you could say in a posture to tackle the carriers if they come, or is it to handle the carriers if they come as best we can. So we are shifting things around. We do have the airfield over here that does go to that range. And we also do need to move a little bit more aviation support towards Kira as well. We are trying to draw aviation support in here too, so we'll try and manage it. But over here then we do have the Zeros and the G4s. Over here today then you can see that we do have the Nix. And we do have a number of Hastings K4s here as well, which is quite nice. We also do have the B5 and 2s and additional Zeros. So that is, as of today, there's a couple over here that we've transferred over, but it's 46 Nix in total, 43 already right now. Another 30 Zeros there, 27 Zeros in total. And then we have a growing number of Zeros here too, so you can see that we have a number of 58 in total there. Just additional strength really coming in. I mean, once Ship Bay gets up to size 2 airfield, we'll probably base things out there too. What are your plans? Any plans for Horn Island? Eventually, it's not that important right now. There's not that much that's transiting over here. Maybe submarines of things of that nature, but it's not a great deal. Eventually, we'll probably take it because it would be worthwhile having because it denies them a little toehold there. But eventually, it is a good point to bring up though. Alright, so do you have a truce march in there? 32 there. Yeah, 42. So we'll have one element of the division here tomorrow then. Should be good. He'll then likely become aware of it. We may then see the actual bombs get into action there. We'll see about that. Yes, there's another... well, there's literally a couple of Nicks there. Those B5s can be transferred, so I'll transfer them later on. We do have additional Nicks, etc. up over here. Don't worry about this. We'll get the pilots in there. It's just obviously we are building these groups back up. So yeah, you can see that we do have another number of aircraft in there. Certainly still, don't worry about it. Yeah, so there's 8 there. Again, just building them up. How many do we have in pool? Yeah, 6. It takes time to build them up, really. And obviously we are limited on the size of squadrons as well. Because they're army squadrons, we have to take other squadrons that... I mean, this is it. With the Zeros, we were able, because they were naval, we were able to put them in a carrier, resize them to 93 also, which gives you a lot of room to maneuver, gives you a lot of room to play with. But the army squadrons, it's not quite as easy. So it does take a little bit more time, and a little bit more critical points. How you doing there, Arthur? Yeah, I know, right. It is early though, and I will be heading out later on. Yeah, so... not entirely unexpected. It is good to see that we have apparently some carrier aircraft out here, so we could surmise that may still yet be the British group there, which is fine by me. I didn't expect him to come barreling in yet. We saw them roughly in this area. He might have pulled back potentially somewhat, or potentially... I don't know, he's going to be looking for a way around this. He's not happy that he's been detected, I'd wager. I do have a number of submarines heading out towards Rabaul for fuel and for repair. These guys all, in theory, should have a floatplane aboard them. They can carry one, which is fine. But I think what I might go ahead and do then is maybe have them establish as like some sort of picket as well, perhaps. Just to try and give us more detection. Generally, that's how we'll play. But these submarines over here then, we're not seeing detection on them now. Which could indicate a number of things. Could indicate that he's not in the area. But he's going to be somewhat in the area. We'll be able to take his last known positions and then figure out really where he could go in a day. But essentially, he could be running without naval search, which is pretty dangerous. He could do it, though. But we haven't seen anything, so I'm going to put that down to Paul Weather in the area, I'd imagine. I mean, what is it over the actual submarines there? Actually, decent weather here, so he might be heading away. I wouldn't be too surprised about that. But myself and Gabriel, we were talking about, like, what is his victory condition on the Coral Sea, and it's hard to really say. So for him, he obviously wants to tackle this air power. He wants to remove this air power in the area and try and roll back Japanese really progress in the area. But for him to do that, the best way would be for him to get a bombardment through. Or even better yet, take islands, but he's not going to do that. I don't imagine. He could be bold as hell and do it, but I don't know. So, really, for us, it's like if we actually have the air-to-air engagement, that's still good because we still get the opportunity to attract his aircraft. Ideally, land some hits would be fantastic. But for him, it's harder. He can't sink the islands, so it's hard for him to have a permanent solution to this. So it's like, well, is it worthwhile throwing assets like that into the fray for a temporary solution that may not even work? I don't know. So I think we are going to see him probing more than anything. The fact that we see submarines over here is interesting as well. Because you know, I mean, like over here, like what is he trying to prevent? Is he trying to, does he assume that we're going to come in here and invade? And eventually, but I'm in no rush for this. I mean, absolutely no rush for taking Luganville back. Because we don't particularly need it per se. I mean, he's expanding it there, which is going to make sense. I would like to bomb it, but yeah. We'll tackle the situation one day at a time there, really. At least with the H6K4s over here in a position, it does give us a lot more intelligence of the area. One would assume, but yeah, it will improve. We do have additional submarines heading down this way. Additional submarines have also arrived over here then. Those are the midget subs. I think they have just disbanded then. Yes, there's another 5 submarines in port here today. On top of what we had beforehand. Yeah, there we are. I swear to God, my volumes are all wacky. Let me see. Is it because of this? No, it's fine. God knows then. This feels different. Yeah, there we go. Now it's working. I think it's because I tabbed out earlier on, isn't it? Yeah, there we are. I was thinking it didn't sound right. Weird. Right, unloading fuel there. We are loading fuel up over here then, which is pretty good. Here too. Okay. I'm gonna destroy that player. I don't know why it's so weird. I think it's because of the volume level, but it's just trying to find that right balance, really. Let's see then. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for it, to be honest. There's been many a times when he could have attacked Magway, and he would have actually achieved it. It probably would have done pretty good, to be honest, considering the numbers that we used to have there. But it just hasn't, so fair enough. Just desperately trying to build up a supply stockpile if we can. Obviously, it doesn't help that we're building, but yeah. That's fine. Up to a size 6 airfield there. But on the forts too. It's actually garrisoned and administrated by purely Japanese troops at this moment in time, actually. Yeah, we do have the Thai forces beginning their march now. It is going to take some time. Definitely is going to take some time, but eventually when they do arrive in China, it will help us out a great deal. I mean, there's about 800 AV there. I may yet send all the Thai divisions into China. It depends really what's... well, it depends really. I don't think I'll send all of them due to the fact that there's not that many bases that require like a Thai division, but there's a couple that would benefit from having a Thai division or two to fill their garrison requirements. So I'm going to be looking for that really. Right, yep, another tank regiment. Do have a 15th over here. They can bail up over here to Tungan. Okay. Oh, I can take Kunming now. I'm just waiting. The way I'm doing it is essentially because we do have these tanks to arrive anyway. And I'd have to wait for them over here anyway. I might as well just wait for them to arrive at Kunming and then attack with a larger force and just reduce the amount of casualties we take, if that makes sense, and increase the amount of casualties we inflict. Also, make it more likely to actually win the day. But yeah, that's all I'm waiting on. I'm just waiting on those troops to arrive, and then we'll attack Kunming and then move up this way. I'm going to have to get a garrison in there, so I'm trying to get that sorted now. 6th Division moving there. I'm going to need a... well, a few things have to move first. Right, 26th Division there. Yeah. So I do have the 65th Brigade moving north there. They're going to take over the garrison of Guiyang. I then need to take a regiment and have it head down that way, until I can get a Thai division in there. But yeah, there's no... Other than that, there's no reason why we haven't taken it. We definitely can. It also gives our forces a little bit more time to recover too. I mean, they've recovered pretty nicely in the last few days now. So that's fine by me. Aye. Only issue is obviously the longer we spend here, the longer they prep for this, but I don't know. Maybe I'll attack it sooner than later, but I'm going to have to leave some forces behind. I could even potentially just leave some tanks behind, actually, until we get a regiment out there, so obviously they move a lot faster. So, but yeah. So one element remained over there. Obviously these are the guys that kicked back over here. Yeah, so it looks like they're retreating down that way. That's okay. This road is obviously something I'd like to clear up in the future, but yeah, this is the fun of a Chinese. Probably would have been better out there, but hey. They can deliberately attack again. Right, so you can see North China Area Army has arrived over here now. They just need to get into chunking. That'll bring us additional support there. Yeah, 240 there. And mortars. There we go. Well, the Chinese are going to come back anyway, but the thing is, it's like the Chinese come back with 200 AV, but they don't come back with guns. That's the thing to bear in mind. They come back with poorer morale and experience, I do believe. So the fact is, yes, there's going to be thousands and thousands of Chinese squads, but that's not too bad, really. The plan that we have in mind is to assemble all the armor over here at Chongqing, and then have the armor supported by everything with artillery attack, and the idea being to drain supply, because obviously he doesn't have much in the way of guns. He will be able to inflict losses on the tanks, but ideally not so many. Obviously we'd then have to rest them and recover them. But the idea is that we use the armor to drain supply in Chongqing, and ideally aim to reduce its effectiveness. Apparently they can reduce fort level as well, we've seen that when we've tested that. But that'd be the idea, because it's going to have level 6 forts over here, so obviously we want to try and reduce his supply. And if we could reduce fort levels, that'd be great. I'd prefer to use armoured vehicles because they are relatively cheap in comparison to the infantry. And in the meantime, I'm quite happy to allow the infantry to continue to build up, and obviously additional forces and artillery to arrive too. But I'd like to reduce the amount of fort levels and supply in Chongqing if I could, really. That'd be ideal. Yeah, once we have these cities, then they'll not come back. But think of it this way as well. Eventually, when we do take Chongqing, this is going to be a lot of victory points there as well, in terms of just destroying troops. There's going to be a lot of troops there, which is going to be pretty awesome. I'm sending this armoured car company, by the way, to cross over here, take control of this hex side. Well, just in this hex side. I'd like to get something here to complete this around Chongqing, but yeah. It doesn't matter a great deal. Just obviously would deny supply to these guys. But in fairness, it's not a great situation for the Chinese, really. I mean, there's so many troops over here that are just doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right, so they'll arrive tomorrow. That's fine. But no, I just wanted to get forces in position. It's why I'm not doing too much else other than just, yeah, I just need to get the armor down there. I just want to group all the armor that we have at Chongqing. Just improve our chances, if that makes sense. Now, we actually did overbuild our vehicle production earlier on, by mistake actually. So we do have 160, so you can see that we do have 10,740 points in the pool here. So we actually overbuilt it a bit. I can't remember exactly what we were aiming for, but it is over what we initially wanted to spend. So yeah, I'm quite happy to use vehicle points to replace the losses, really. It's just the fact that it does take advantage of the fact that they do lack the guns. The terrain and fortification will make it harder on them, but I'm quite happy to have the tanks then retire and recover for some time. I think it's worthwhile doing it in that manner, because if we can reduce the level of force by 1, then that's great. They're never going to come back then, because of the damage here at the airfield. Which is interesting, it's not being repaired, to be honest. That is very interesting. We are bombing the troops though, so I'd have to double check that. Maybe somewhere on airfields. They're all on, yeah, they're all on ground, so I'm not too sure about that, actually. I'd have to, yeah, interesting one. I don't know why that's not being repaired then, actually. Should, in theory, be repaired. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Maybe it's just a erroneous report then, but I don't know. But either way. Let's see. But yeah, if I could reduce the level of fort and supply in the base, supply would be a good priority if I could bring a supply down. But if I could reduce the level of forts, I'm quite happy to do that with tanks. I mean, it depends really on how quickly we could recover the armoured vehicles. If it took maybe a month to recover the armoured vehicles and bring down the level of fort again or something of that nature, I think that's probably worthwhile waiting for. It's one of those of, the way I see this is if we could expedite the taking chunking, I'd like to do that. But if we could also do it in such a way that, granted it may take about the same length of time as it would normally, but we suffer far less in terms of casualties, you know, by reducing this level of force, then that could be worth pursuing, really. Because if we can actually leave chunking with more troops than we potentially would have normally, then it actually reduces the time required to do things elsewhere, which is pretty nice. So, we'll see. Take it as it comes, really. But yeah, not too much going on here today. Can't see the other carriers, but at least we do have confirmation of carriers that do mail, which is always nice. Would like to get a escort in there. Just don't have that many long-range ones out here. Yeah, seeing some brings around here, but no, it's... How are the guys at Guam been today? So we transferred them to Guam yesterday. So you can see that we do have actually 94 zeros here, actually, I should say. A couple of them need to be repaired. I may give them another day of just complete rest, really. The idea being, because they did make quite a big jump there, from Tokyo to Guam, so that's 35 hexes there. So, we'll see. I don't mind giving them that bit more time. And the good news as well is, depending on how things go, if we don't need them down here in the Solomon Sea, then these guys could form the, they could form a new group over here at Marianas, because we look for roughly 100 zeros, so they could form a group over here at Marianas Islands. And that improves our security. So yeah, we're quite happy, really. I mean, we're thinking about it, we were like, well, maybe we're being a bit stingy in Japan, because if we do have a Kitabatai here in Japan. We do have additional assets in Japan, like additional Oscars and things of that nature, and obviously we'll be able to build up a new group of zeros in the future as well anyway. So yeah, maybe we're being a bit stingy. And obviously having capability here at the Marianas would be really quite nice. How large forces have got to make now? The thing is, it's like Wake, what do you gain from Wake? Wake is great for the reconnaissance assets. That you can, well, for the reconnaissance assets that you can base that information gives you. But other than that, it's not a particularly fantastic airfield. You can build it up, but obviously it takes a great deal of expense. It's also an atoll, and the last time we landed it was like level 4 fortifications, so it could be even higher now. There are less troops there now, but I'd be more interested in just bombarding the island, to be honest. It looks like he has probably room for more troops there. Maybe just the initial garrison, but yeah, in fairness, I'd be happier just to bombard the island. It's one of those, really. Taking it wouldn't be worth the cost at this point now. Takamarcus, our own Wake, yeah, that's built up there. That's good. Alright, so we are lacking supply over here at Guam. Please get some supply in there. I didn't notice that last time, actually. I thought I'd organise one, but I ran out of time. Yes, go to level 5 forts at Japan, which is excellent. The only issue with the Marianas is that this is why the Marianas get more AV sooner. It's because they don't have as great defensive terrain. Yeah, well, this is it, but it's like at what cost? At what cost, really? We did try, but he had stated he'd done that in previous campaigns. We'd really been not off balance, I suppose you could say, because obviously we wanted a Pearl Harbor strike and then we didn't get one, which actually really changed things a lot there. Alright, it's not too bad. But yeah, as said, I'd like to bombard it. I'm bringing these subs back to refuel and repair, to be honest. Yeah, I'd like to bombard it one day. I mean, this is it. I'm not going to move the Kitabatai unless we get an engagement down here with his carriers, because I don't think it's worthwhile to sell our carriers out. I don't think it's worth the cost of fuel to sell the carriers out unless we actually do have something that inhibits his carriers to some degree. Sinking some would be great, but you know what I mean. Like, if I could reduce his amount of aircraft, so that if we did send the Kitabatai out here, he wouldn't really be able to challenge it. And then we'd actually be able to penetrate, you know, and do what we wanted to do. How you doing there, son, again? I can imagine there, son. Yeah, I need to start getting ready shortly enough, but we do have a little bit more time here. A tad bit more, that is. I do hope your day and days are going well. Alright, so we are just a couple days from Yamato. Yeah, so Yamato will be 6 days then. And then I think I'll have her move down here to Singapore. Probably move her coastal to a degree. But yeah, we'll have her sit in Singapore then, really. Okay. So I do have the engineer regiments over here with the cavalry. I obviously do need to get a proper garrison in here, like a long-term garrison. But I repair the damage to the airfield and that, so the engineers could move on as well, actually. I just think it's a decent airfield to have there, really, due to it being level 3 already. So eventually we'll get something out there. We did capture Bandawang actually surprisingly intact, which is pretty damn handy. And again, it's quite a few victory points in fairness. So we get another 36 victory points here today. Right, so he loses a Catalina. We have 2 sides go down there to Ops, but yeah, I'm quite happy when he loses a Catalina, I must say. Ship sunk then. We don't see anything here today. So yeah, he's been caged at the moment, which is to be expected. He's getting ready to move that artillery. I do have ships over here trying to load that artillery. Oh, okay, good. So they can actually load the mortars, and that's good news. It may take a long time for them to get aboard there, but as long as they can actually pick them up, that's fine. So I'm going to have the artillery in the Philippines moved down here to Canton, then they can actually be moved up the road, Kukong, and then they can be railed up over this way. That'd be nice. Well, I don't know, maybe it'd be quicker to actually just have it dropped off over here at Hanoi, if we could, and then just march up over this way, but I'm not sure. Probably quicker, I don't know, maybe. I'd have to look at the timing of that. Yeah. These engineers are recovering, which is good. Yeah, just need additional support in here, really. And that gets to green, will be good to go. I'll have to see how many headquarters they can get in there, ultimately. But yeah. These tanks are finally back on the roads now, so we can actually get them moving to where we want. We do have these air units moving to the north. This unit is moving up over here. It's eventually going to take over the garrison at Langchai, I do believe. Because right now we have to use aviation units for that. Yeah, there we are. Okay. So these guys can be shifted via rail down to Shanghai. Or even Fusan, really. Depends which is actually safer to load up from. Probably Fusan a bit better, actually, considering its proximity to Japan, really. That's fine. Are you going to finish off the troops east of Oosthaven? Yeah, it's just having an actual ground unit to go ahead and do that, really. I'll see if I can find something to do that. It's not a big problem. I mean, they've been there for a long time, so they'd probably just fall apart, essentially. But yeah, it's just getting some troops to go ahead and do it. That's all, really. I might just have, like, a unit from the stack over here just moved across here. Maybe an armoured unit. An armoured unit probably be okay to do, really. Pretty quick. Being there in about a turn or so. But so he continues to have his submarines out here. Well, they managed to make it through here. Quite nice. Do have our tankers moving through here, too. And the music has gone off again, which is fantastic. Love that player. Yeah, so we're looking at another DD will be back tomorrow, then another 6 days over here. We do have about 18 days then at Tokyo for those... No, sorry, for Kobe. For those... where are we? Kobe. Yeah, we do have about 18 days then for these guys. So that upgrading makes them more impactful. I don't know why the music keeps going off. This laptop sometimes pisses me off. But now we're looking good there. Unfortunately, I do not have a great deal of time, so we're going to go ahead and call it here. I'm just going to go ahead and check on just a couple more things then. So we have some quite a bit there. Palmyra, okay. And I will check on ops report quickly. Yeah, we did have quite a few more attacks on his submarines via aircraft today, which is good. Take a closer look at that later on when I get the time. I'm going to go Helen advances the RD. Okay, these forces upgraded over here. I'd have to double check and make sure. They're naval ones, so I think they've just been upgraded to the radar now. Right, okay. Okay. Yeah, quite a few upgrading over here, actually. Base horses. I'm going to have to take a look at that. I'll take a look at that later on, actually. And I will take a look at the R&D here today, and then we'll call it because I do need to get ready pretty much immediately afterwards. Yeah. Not too far until they up. Again, we did have the Helens come forward. Yeah, there we go. So we can see we should be able to change the Helen then over to production this turn then, or next turn. But yeah, the Helen will be going into production then shortly enough. You can see, obviously, well, actually, it should be arriving. Oh, yeah. So we'll see what we can do with that, but it's pretty much ready to go. It being a blue, that's good. The 83. Not seeing a change here today. Still good about that 8. Just want it to be a 9. We'll go from there. But no, there we are. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies about the music. I need to get that sorted again. But until next time, thank you and goodbye. Have an awesome day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Until next time, goodbye for now.